91. Sorel's materialistic belief. Zinker now placed his hands in reversed order on Sorel, who opened his eyes and woke up. When Sorel had completely woken up, I gave the old innkeeper Marcus a sign to give him the little bit watered wine, since he was very thirsty. Marcus did this straight away, and the very thirsty Sorel emptied the quite sizable mug in one go, and asked for another full mug, since he was still thirsty. Marcus asked me if he could do so. I affirmed such question with the only added remark, to add more water than wine for the second time. And Marcus did that, and it made Sorel to feel better. After he had strengthened himself, he looked around and scrutinized his surrounding, which he still remembered quite well, despite the sun already being close to setting. After a while, he, Sorel, said, his eyes steadfast pointing at me, "Zinker, this person there looks very familiar. I must have seen him before. Who is he, and what might be his name?" The longer I look at him, the more he becomes alive, that I must have seen him somewhere. Zinker, I have great sympathy for you. Therefore, entrust me who this man is. Says Zinker, this man is the son of a carpenter from Nazareth, which lies above Capernaum, but not from the place with the same name, which is located behind the mountains and is inhabited mainly by dirty Greeks. His character is this, that he is a saviour, and exceedingly skillful regarding his occupation. Because if he is helping someone, he certainly is helped. His name corresponds with his character, and hence his name is Jesus, which is a saviour of souls and ill body limbs at the same time. He has much greater strength in his will and in his hands, and is at the same time good like an angel and wise. Now you know everything what you have asked about. If you want to know anything else, then ask. Otherwise the high lords will undertake something, and we then would have little time to discuss some matters in more detail. Says Sorel in a low voice to Zinker, I thank you for what you have told me, although I still don't know what actually has happened to me. Since I cannot get clarity about the reason why this man looks so familiar to me. It seems that somewhere I have undertaken a long trip with him. I have been travelling, a lot on water and on land, and I was accompanied, but I cannot remember having seen and talked to this man. Nevertheless, as said before, it seems as if I had a lot to do with him during a trip. Explain to me why this might be the case. Says Zinker, in the most natural manner of the world. Somewhere you must have had a quite lively dream, which you only now can remember very vaguely, and this will be surely the reason for your current emotion. Said Sorel, you might be right. I quite often dream something which I only remember after a few days, if I have in a certain way been reminded about it by a similar outer object. Otherwise everything is lost, and I cannot remember any dream, nevertheless how lively I have dreamt. But it will be like that, since in reality I have never seen this man from Nazareth before. But now something else, dear friend. See, I have come here to receive from the High Governor certain alms. What do you think? Will he be able to help me? If it is without hope, could you at least approach him on behalf of me, so that I be allowed to go home? Since what should I do here? About all this theosophical and philosophical wise junk, I couldn't care less. My theosophy and philosophy are very short. I believe in this what I can see. This means nature, which always renews itself since eternity. In addition, I believe that eating and drinking are the two most essential pieces to live. In anything else I do not believe lightly. There surely exists some strange things in this world, like all kind of magic and other skills and sciences. But between them and myself there is the same relationship as between the fire and me. As long as it does not burn me, I do not blow. I do not feel any need in me to know and understand more, as I already know and understand. And therefore it would be quite stupid of me to hang around for much longer, to catch any quite difficult to understand teaching of wisdom, so that I could brag in front of some silly guys. You see in me a nature person, who dislikes all wise institutions and laws of people, because they too much impair the innate freedom of man in an often too hard manner, for the only reason, so that a few can become very rich, powerful, and highly respected, for which of course millions must languish in the deepest misery. Would I understand more than I already understand now, I then would be able to see the reason of even more of such injustice, which would make me even unhappier. But as it is, my stupidity saves me from a lot of grief, because I do not quite see fundamentally the reason of all human wickedness. Where the evil, wise-appearing people could not invent themselves enough laws to suppress humanity, they set up thinking and very inventive heads, who, walking around with ecstatic, distorted faces, appearing fallaciously with all kinds of laws from the gods, to start anew tormenting poor and weak mankind with the most ridiculous threats of the most awful, everlasting punishments, and with promises of the greatest rewards, but of course only after the death of the body, where it is easy to reward, since the dead do not need anything any more. Nevertheless, regarding punishments, the people did not wait until after death, forestall their fictitious and trifling gods, and punished the transgressors of all the laws of the gods rather immediately here, so that in the beyond nobody is running short regarding the threatening punishment. But the devout had to wait for their reward until after death. There never appears in this life any free advances, except one allowed oneself to be beaten nearly to death for one of the big. Everything which is and exists in the federation of human society is highly aimed at the interest of the individual, so that every sober thinker immediately can recognize the reason on which it is built. The godly lawfulness and the human social element. Friend, if only one wants to live as a most free lord of all magnificence of the earth, then of course all other faint-willing and strength-weak mankind must cry, including the earth on which they are standing. for the oppressors of humanity, for the most heartless tyrants, a corresponding reward in the beyond would be quite in order. But who will serve such to them? In short, there is nothing. A pure, loose puppet game. Who is able to make the others, this is the rest of mankind, serviceable to himself, is right and is doing good. Since a silly person is not worth more than a silly dog. The stronger and more clever should kill him, take possession of all his property, and should then on life and death protect it in every conceivable manner against all foreign attacks. If he is able to do that, soon he will become a great and free lord. If he can't do that, it only serves him right that he has undertaken something which he, as a wise man, should have anticipated that he will not succeed. In short, for the silly, nothing is better than annihilation. If they are not there anymore, all laws, all pursuit and all inhuman punishments have ended for them forever. Not to be, if one must remain in misery. 1 hour of real misery does not weigh up against 20,000 years of the greatest happiness. Dearest friend Zinka, see, this is my harmless creed, to which not easily anything can be said against it on this earth. It is the truth that nobody likes to hear. Everyone lulls his being in all kinds of false imaginations and regards himself to be quite happy. Just keep on. Everyone should wallow in the kingdom of the lie and searches for consolation in the fantastic imagination, once misery starts to step mercilessly on his neck. Dull yourselves, you wretched, with the poppy poison of the lie, and sleep as long as you live under the sweet pressure of insanity, and it serves everyone right if it makes him happy. Only to me it is unfair, since I must feel very unhappy under the eagle's wings of truth, if I always have to see, feel, and even must break the same and fatal dive from the truthful heights, which awaits me and others similar to me. Who will catch me in the fall, if the loose rope breaks, by which my stupidity has fixed me to the mighty wings of the eagle? People, let me in peace consume my loot, since I'm doing nothing to you. Just give me of your abundance that much, that I can replace what bad chance has taken away from me, and you will not find an ungrateful beggar in me. But if you want to give nothing as usual, then let me at least go home unflustered, so that I, as a poor fawn, of course in an unlawful manner, can gather sufficient wood to build myself a most makeshift hut, at least as good as the beaver builds his hut. The one or the other you surely will grant to me. But to make me even more wretched than I already been, you surely will not do. However, if this is your intention, then rather kill me immediately, since I certainly do not want to become more miserable than I already be. Because if you do not kill me, then I know what I have to do. I will understand how to kill myself. Finally, Zinka speaks again. Stay far away from such act. You will also not be obliged to do such a most insane deed, given your particular good knowledge and experiences. Because when you were asleep, Cyrenius has catered for you in the best way, but only if you will recognize that this, what you just have recognized as the truth, is in fact the biggest untruthfulness. Thus, do not be concerned and accept a better teaching, and only then you really will become completely happy.